Hi guys, a little update on the DYNAVISION mod and whether or not it will be available for the Xbox. And right now it's looking like the answer is no. There is a problem. It's not that the performance is slow, and the performance is slow. It does take quite a lot of time for the mod to focus, but not that much actually. And I know I can tweak that, and there are settings that allow us to speed it up quite a lot. I mean, obviously it'll never be as smooth as on PC, but I actually think I can work with it. However, I don't know if you can notice, when it's refocusing, the image seems to move around. Things that blur and things that unblur, I don't know if you can see it, they're twitching almost. They're like, they're moving side to side. The effect is actually more noticeable if I increase the blur strength quite a lot. And I'm only on 20% blur strength, which is another indication that what I'm about to say is true. But let me just go to 40% and show you how... Can you see it? It almost looks like it's flicking into focus. It's actually not. It's an optical illusion. The focus is still changing bit by bit, but what is actually happening is as it's refocusing slowly, various parts of the image are moving. It's almost as if we've got horizontal tearing in slow time. And the reason for this is it's using Gopher DOF, the high quality DOF. But console users probably don't know this, but on the PC, there are two settings for depth of field. You've got standard depth of field, standard quality, and then you've got high quality Gopher depth of field. And honestly, I generally don't like the high quality one. I assume it has more of a performance hit, but I actually don't like the effect. I prefer the normal Gaussian blur style depth of field. However, I can tell you DYNAVISION on the PC does not work well with Gopher DOF. It has the same effect. And it's because the way the depth of field works on that setting is it actually shifts the image slightly. It doesn't just blur it, it moves it in various directions, different parts of it, to create the same sort of blur, I think. I don't know the technical details, I'm not an expert. However, it looks like that's the depth of field the Xbox is using, which is a bit weird. I would have assumed it used the lower quality one, the one that actually works well with DYNAVISION. This is a bad setback for me because Gopher DOF on Fallout 4 looks horrible when you transition. When it focuses from near to far or far to near, you get this flickering effect, and there's no way I can fix it. It's just something that the game does not like dynamically changing Gopher DOF. It's fine with the normal DOF. I don't think there's any way I can change this on the console. Look at it. It really looks bad. It almost looks like everything's going into slow frame rate and flicking. It's actually not. It's the entire image shifting side to side a little bit. It's annoying. So I don't think there's any way to change the depth of field quality on console, to be honest. So I can't even say, well, you know, the same thing as I say to PC users. You can use this mod, but for God's sake, don't use Gopher DOF, which is what I say to the PC users. So I honestly don't know what my options are. I have one or two ideas. One idea I've had is to only have one depth of field focus, and it will blur the background as it's blurring now. And then when you look to the distance, instead of shifting the focus, I will shift the strength so it unblurs. This will have the effect of creating a background blur that gets stronger the closer you're looking to something, but it won't have a foreground blur. If you look at the moment, when I look to the distance, if you look at the sign, it will, there you go, it blurs out. I won't be able to mimic that, but it might be a good option. And if I can get it to do that, not only will the focus automatically get a lot faster, it may get rid of that stuttery, sideways flicking movement that is really quite horrible. So anyway, I haven't given up. I'm not saying I won't be able to get it working. I am saying currently it's a little problematic. It may be the Dynavision for console doesn't happen. And if it does happen, it's going to have massively reduced features and functionality. It's just never going to be as good. And it's purely because of the type of depth of field they've got. Unless there's some way of changing the depth of field via a mod, but I checked using Papyrus and could not find it. I don't know whether there's another setting. It's not something I've ever really had to consider because, of course, on the PC, you just change either the INI file or you change the settings in the options. The console version of the game does not have that option as far as I can see. If somebody knows otherwise, because I am a total noob when it comes to consoles. I mean, I haven't even finished my first playthrough on console, so I'm a bit of a noob, but I can't find anything that allows me to change that. So, if people have got any ideas on how to change it without it being too complicated for other people, I mean, I don't mind hacking it to pieces, but I'm guessing people are not going to want to do that to get a mod working. That's horrible. So if people have got any suggestions or they know how to change the depth of field quality, feel free to tell me. Otherwise, I'm going to test out some ideas I've got on how to simulate the different focus lengths by changing the strength instead and leaving the focal length constant. I think I can get something that looks vaguely cool. Probably what will happen is it'll make it so if you go very, very close to things, background will look like it's blurring. It'll make it so that if you go into... Oh, I don't want to do that. I want to go outside. I want to go third person. It'll make it so that if you go third person and look at your character, it'll blur the background, which is generally one of the things we use when doing screenshots and things. I can possibly get it doing that, still looking good, still looking smooth, and you know, it might be something. I'm going to keep looking at it. I will not give up just yet, but I can't promise anything. So, sorry about that for all the people who were hoping dynamic depth of field would come to the console. Oh, and no, I've no idea if the PlayStation 4 is going to have the same problem, but I'm going to assume so. I'm going to assume that if Xbox has got the high quality depth of field, so will the PlayStation 4. But of course, we will just have to wait and see.